Hey, what is up guys? It's ElasticSpyder here, and in today's video we are looking at some tier 10 French battleship gameplay, and we are in the Republique. As you can see by the team lineups, well, there's carriers on either side, and it is also tier 10 matchmaking, which is no problem, right? There's a few tier 8s here and there, but for the most part it's mainly tier 10 with a few tier 8 and 9 scattered on each team. But with that said, let's get into the replay. So, the tier 10 French battleship, the Republique, it is a rather interesting one. And it also allows for a pretty interesting build too. So for my captain build, I'm running, you can do your choice, but I actually am using expert loader, mainly because that was pretty good on the Alsace. But expert loader, adrenaline rush, superintendent, concealment expert, AFT, manual fire control for secondary armament, and then again you can also do priority target if you choose to run my build. For my upgrades, I've got main battery mod 1, then speed boost. If you don't have it, then just damage control. Then accuracy, not for secondaries, for main battery, accuracy, and then what's next? Something like, honestly, you have a lot of choices here. You could either do damage control, or you could do steering gears, or you could, if you, I don't think it's possible to run propulsion, but those are two good options depending on how you want to play your Republique. Then obviously concealment, and then main battery reload. So the way that I've got this build set up, I'm built for some closer range engagements, and honestly that's where the Republique kind of shines. But at the same time, if you sit too far back, if you sit too close, then things are going to shred you because you just have 32mm plating all around. And we'll kind of see that here in a little bit, that I ended up getting too close. If you sit at too far of range, like past 15 kilometers, your guns just start to turn into horrendous, just horrendous guns altogether. However, if you sit at medium range and you can get your secondaries in use, well, then you become much more effective. And that's really the goal of the Republique, is you want to be sitting around that 12 to 13 kilometer range when fighting other ships, and then when you need to, you can get in close and actually wreak havoc. So aim a little too far on that Baltimore with 4 overpens, but that's okay. And since Gearing did launch torpedoes, unfortunately, probably not on me, although could have been. I'm going to take one of these torpedoes, and I'm going to not flood, interestingly enough. Bit lucky there. But yeah, the Republique, it's got good guns in the sense that they've got a good caliber, 431mm. These guns, since they're oddly enough pretty big, you can't overmatch a lot of ships though. In fact, you can overmatch a 30mm plate, and that's about it. So that Hipper that I just shot, yeah, can't overmatch him. The Des Moines I can overmatch because he's got, and ow! That Des Moines only has 27mm bow, but can't overmatch other battleships at tier 10. But boy, did that hurt. So there, that's kind of where I wanted to mention. That guy may have gotten some citadels on me. He may have not, but nonetheless, like, even if he didn't, he's still going to pen me because I've got 32mm plating pretty much everywhere on my ship except for my main belt. However, I can get a citadel on him, and I expected more than that, but the Musashi, excuse me, actually comes in rather clutch there. But a bit unfortunate, though, I wasn't able to get more than one hit. And again, that's kind of where the Republic's guns are just quite horrendous, to be honest with you. However, Sometimes they go flat, sometimes they go vertical. It just depends on RNG, honestly. That's, at the end of the day, the determining factor. But so you saw there, if I wasn't getting focused, then I was fine. As soon as I became the focus target, I lost a lot of HP. Granted, it was 22.5k, came straight from that battleship, but still, nonetheless, that's still a lot of damage to lose in a battleship, especially when you only have 92,000 HP, one of the lowest behind the Conqueror in terms of battleship HP at tier 10. So you have to be kind of smart with your armor, and you have to be smart with your positioning, and smart with your damage control and heals and all your survivability aspects. However, these 431mm guns do 1450 alpha, as you kind of saw from a couple of those citadels there, which is quite decent. Actually, it's pretty good, considering 16-inch guns are around 13. Not quite as good as the Yamato, but nonetheless, they still have nice pen. So, with my build, you can actually get your secondary range up to 10.6. I'm sure you can get it a little bit further. But I think this build is a good build for a couple of reasons. It's a good build because you have, you still have the very nice characteristics of that you need for good main battery handling, I guess. But you also have the flexibility of the secondary armament, whereas if a destroyer pops up or a second cruiser pops up or something like that, you can still manage to take those ships out, or at least be damaging them while you're trying to focus someone else down. And this is also a pretty nice thing with the Republique, is you've got such a short reload. Of course, with that short reload, you do have some drawbacks, but nonetheless, an 18-second reload is quite substantial. And of course, that is with my build. I do have to put a little asterisk there. But oh boy, look at these shells. And this is what I was talking about, the dispersion. Those shells are more vertical than they are horizontal. So when you're talking about dispersion, yeah, as dispersion being a horizontal ellipse, yeah, no. With Republique, I think it's just a straight up circle, and the shells can pretty much go anywhere they want, because shells like that shouldn't happen. That really should not happen. But nonetheless, these guns are quite good. They've got nice pen. They've got a fantastic reload, which makes them very efficient at killing cruisers. Or at least, if you're not going to kill the cruisers, at least put them under some heavy pressure. And that is ultimately the key of, I guess, a battleship. Obviously, battleships, you want to straight up kill the cruisers, but if you can limit the cruiser's ability to do damage, well, then you're completely limiting his role. For the most part. So that's kind of where the Republique shines. It's a great cruiser killer. Against battleships, it can be okay, but just because you have you don't have a lot of guns, you only have 8 guns, and you'll also and oh my, 5,000 damage. Woo! You also don't have the standard characteristics of battleship, and by that I mean, well, armor for the most part, and general survivability I feel is very reduced in the Republique. The AA, and I know that Curie hasn't gone after me, the AA seemed, from my experience, rather lackluster. But one thing that it does have is speed to help run away from situations when it needs to. The downside to the French battleships, though, at least with the Republique, is that you do not get any sort of plane. And watch this blind shot. That Salem goes dark. He thinks he's safe. Da-da-da-da-da. But I can aim without seeing you, buddy. And, yeah, so that's the one thing that you have to get used to playing when you play the Republique. is not being able to pop that spotter plane like this Montana. You know, I don't know how I would spot him if, let's say, that gearing wasn't there and that Zhao needed shots on him because he's low HP, that sort of thing. I wouldn't have that flexibility. Whereas that Montana, he can, well, pop his spotter plane or catapult fighter and actually spot me. But it's okay. There has been a few times where that has, I felt, limited my capabilities in the Republique, but nonetheless, I think it's a slight adjustment that after a while is it doesn't matter nearly as much. So Minotaur broadside, I should be getting citadels here, no problem, but the dispersion. You can kind of blame my aim there, but at 9 kilometers it gets a little bit harder to blame aim versus just bad dispersion. Let's see how the follow-up shot goes. Too low. Now, it looked good, and when I was playing this on stream, it looked decent. I might have aimed a little low, but at the same time, it is a Minotaur. I still feel like I should be getting some citadels there, even if I do have bad dispersion. And, oh my lord. God awful. And what do you know? RNG decides to hook me up on the last salvo that I shoot at him. Nonetheless, it is what it is. Sometimes you can't complain. Sometimes it's hard to complain. Des Moines not paying attention to me, he's paying attention to the Kaaba. And, well, what do you know? Citadel. So I can't Citadel a Minotaur at 10 kilometers, but at 18, I can Citadel a Des Moines, no problem, with my front gun only. And for me, this is kind of the moral of the story, the theme with the Republique is that sometimes it's just great, like on that Des Moines front turret. I didn't expect a Citadel. I mean, I always expect a Citadel when I'm shooting at cruisers in a battleship, but with my front gun, I wasn't honestly expecting much. I was expecting maybe 4,000 damage or 6,000 damage, something like that. But a Citadel, that's not something I was expecting. Now, on the Minotaur, on the other hand, I was expecting at least 2 Citadels, well, at the very least 1 Citadel on that first salvo. 2 Citadels was, I mean, it is a Minotaur, so it could also be expected. And again, here, 27 grand on this Essex. So I begin to think, like, well, maybe this ship is better at longer ranges now. Or maybe you should sit back a little bit more in the Republique, and that makes me reconsider my whole build as a whole. So it's a bit interesting, this ship, but I think at the end of the day, you have to play it how you want to play it. I just want to add one little asterisk next to my last statement where I said you got to play the Republique how you want to play it. That's not to say that if you sit at 25 kilometers and try and snipe, you probably will not be successful in the Republique. You might, and if you do, please prove me wrong. But I don't think that that's the optimal. And when I say play how you want to play, is everyone has different expectations from the ship, but also the game as well. So if you want to do a lot of damage, I think that sitting at the medium range is good. If you want to be kind of like this all-around good battleship player, always engaging the enemy but also tanking damage, have that nice supporting role, I think having it the Republic set up as I do is pretty efficient at that. And again, this is my 3rd battle in this ship, so I can't say too much, but hopefully down the line I can get maybe a review out for you guys, or even a better more knowledgeable gameplay. But nonetheless, we still managed to get a Confederate and a Dreadnought with 192,000 damage. The carrier, thank God, didn't come after me, but we did manage to get 5 Citadels, which was honestly on some of those shots I thought I should have had more, but it is what it is. Team score wise, just shy of 2,400 base XP, but it was a good game overall. I think at the end of the day, we kind of sweeped their team a little bit. But, you know, it's not the worst sweep that I've ever had. I mean, we did have a tier 10 battleship not do a single thing. So I think this was more of the enemy team was kind of a potato as a whole compared to our team, which was a slightly better potato. It's like a regular potato versus red skin potato. Like red skin potatoes are like slightly better, but at least when you bake them, I don't know. I'm kind of hungry now. Nonetheless, looking at the damage distribution and detail report, that sort of thing, we ended up taking 111,000 HP, and well, we went down to I think 25k HP pretty early on, and I would definitely not recommend that whatsoever. That was pretty reckless from me, but at the end of the day, it ended up working out, and I think it was stupid doing it, so I wouldn't recommend it. You know, sacrificing so much HP that early on. But I was streaming, and when I stream, things can kind of get crazy, I guess. But nonetheless, we still did 170k from AP, and like I said, if you didn't have a secondary build, you probably would not be getting nearly as much damage from your secondary battery as you are. So it's if you're looking at it from an efficiency standpoint, then if you're looking for raw damage, I would say this is pretty efficient, especially considering that I'm not sacrificing anything related to my main battery. I've got the accuracy, I've got the main battery reload, I've got everything that I need to increase my main battery capabilities. But yeah, so I think that's it's a nice build that I have, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, it's a tier 10, so we're still making 280 grand with premium. Without premium, just barely getting by. But nonetheless, actually, I need I need credits pretty bad, guys. Like, I'm at maybe 5 million. Oof, I know it's bad, but hopefully I can grind that out pretty quickly. Anyways, I hope you have a wonderful day, guys, and I hope you learned something. If you liked this video, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike and tell us why down in the comment section. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next video.